This episode of the Upper 90 Club is brought to you, as always, by Supporter Supply Company. Hi friends, this is your good pal Morgan Hughes, here to talk to you about a serious issue facing 96% of all crew supporters in Columbus. Why, not enough free shipping, of course. For a limited time now, through the eventual heat death of the universe, Upper 90 Club listeners can use the promo code Upper90Boys. That's boys with a Z on the end of it, at checkout for free delivery on absolutely any order over $10. But Morgan, what if I order $10 worth of stickers, or those goddamned buttons, or some other combination of small items that make you want to kill yourself? Will the free shipping still apply then, even as you curse our family, while you package up our little tiny annoying ass order for us? Of course it will. That's just how much we here at Supporter Supply value our friends at the Upper 90 Club. So head on over to supportersupply.co and use the promo code Upper90Boys. That's boys with a Z at checkout for free shipping on all your orders over $10. And don't forget to tell them that your friends at the Upper 90 Club sent ya.
So far, the crew has cleared every hurdle naysayers have placed in their way. Columbus would be home to one of the 10 inaugural teams. Columbus has outperformed much larger cities. The true success indicator has been from the fans.
Well, it's boys night out.
Hello and welcome to the club. This is not your host, Mars. This
Not
is
him.
Ben. Not him. We are a round table podcast.
Tip of the hat, Benny.
It is just terrifying. Tip of the head. Woo! We are a triangle table UFO of friends who talk about the Columbus Crew. With me today, I have Mr. Mort, say guacamole sandwich.
Guacamole sandwich, and the other podcast used the power triangle is what they call it.
I don't love that at all. And then we also have Tracy, the third sandwich of the stackings.
I'm like the tip of the. That's what we're going with.
Okay. All right. Starting off with a bang, I see. Let's write that down for things we can beep. We are at halftime, boys, of the Ohio State game. Haas is the biggest Ohio State fan, so he's at the game. Yeah. He's super pumped about it. He was all like, he kept texting us like OH, waiting for us to say IO, and we wouldn't do it. He's in Atlanta with Tommy, saying hi, decked out in Buckeye gear. So
yeah. He's hardcore my boy when it comes to college sports. That's his favorite.
Yes.
He says, we don't need the pros. They should all be college sports.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. So we miss you, Haas. We wish you weren't in Atlanta loving college football only. And Mars is out because he's at right next to Trump Tower, which is...
No. He's in Trump Tower.
Oh, he's in Trump Tower.
He's in Trump Tower. He went to the inauguration, and then they flew back to Trump Tower in Chicago, where he's staying in a presidential suite. It sounded pretty nice.
So welcome to the last podcast of the canceled and possibly last Upper 90 Club. This is going to be a shorty. Again, not a whole lot going on, but on this episode, the Tinky Triangles are going to talk about the NordeckElections, more Cleveland things, including prices and bus prices, MLS rules change, and then talk about our boys representing the red, white, and blue. So, right. But before we get started, I want to give I'm going to put in like a presidential send off to do it. Okay, a little pitchy, but we'll roll with it. A big thanks to the people that are leaving the Nordecka. I know I'm not going to be able to get a hold of all of them, but the people that we talked to and fell in love with, these include Chris Lamacchia. Thanks. And then Brandon Starkey, who was awesome. I was really hoping he would stay. Are they not allowed to stay? They're not allowed to stay.
They are, but there's stipulations in terms of 2 years, 4 years, or whatever it is. So I don't know what it is, But yeah, there is
Anything can change. We will see now. Anything
Yeah,
can change how long you're staying around. Who knows?
Yeah,
Maybe
that's
in the
also
future.
true.
Go for second term.
Ravi, but the good news is Ravi did stick around. So we need to have him back on. He is the nicest, smiliest dude of all time, which makes sense because he wasn't in charge of communications like Chris, and he just got pooped on the entire time. So fair play to Chris. 7-gun salute or 9-gun salute or 96-gun salute. Who knows? And the last person we talked to was Courtney. We're obviously a big Courtney Sullivan fan, but she switched roles and she's still staying. So love that for her. What else this last week? I was coming off being sick after two phenomenal shows for the Weezer cover band.
Oh, yeah.
Sold out Cleveland. Sold out Columbus.
My last text to Ben was, where and when is this? And then he never responded.
Definitely not. No friends allowed. Except for Tommy. Tommy came out to Cleveland with the fam.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome. But he was
Tommy from Sparks and
Scars and Spikes.
The Atlanta
he
podcast.
Wore Atlanta stuff too.
Of course he did. Good job, Tommy. Good job.
I knew it as soon as I saw him. I was like, this guy. They're awesome.
So
awesome people.
My question would be, did you guys charter a bus up to Cleveland?
We did not. We hit up Jimmy and we were like, can we get a bus,
that's probably where the idea came from, though.
Yeah, probably. But no, we had to drive. Before we get into it, the last thing I want to touch on is the Run Club. I don't have the numbers in front of me. I know I got 20 last week. What'd you do, Mort?
I did hardly anything. I skied for a couple of miles. That was fun. But I don't think that counts.
Did you Strava that?
Yeah, I did Strava that.
Did you really? Is there a skiing thing?
Yes, I found out there was a snowboarding thing on there. So yeah, there's a snowboard ride on there.
Oh, so you're a snowboarder.
I'm a boarder, man. Yeah.
So you board
I was shredding
your son,
out there.
You had him on the sticks?
He was on the sticks. Yeah, everybody else was on sticks. I got to learn how to walk before they can run and go wild. So there you go.
I went snowboarding one time and got the wind knocked out of me in front of my mom when I was like 17. Cried, had her help me take off my boots and take it back. I'll never forget it. I was like, I'm cool. And like, instead of I didn't try to like carve or anything. I just went straight down the mountain. Yeah. And then I tried to like flip my heels down to stop, like to skid up all the snow. Yep. And the front lip just got caught and threw me forward.
Yeah, that's why you wear a helmet.
Yep.
So
this was
going
the
there
90s.
with the preteen means also like it goes from like this is the best ever to her throwing her skis, walking up in the middle of the slope, never going to do that again. Tried to turn in her rental skis, that kind of stuff.
Was it their first time?
Yeah, that was their first time. So
wow, I did not know that.
So they went from like the little bunny hill to actually skiing down. So,
are they still doing long skis? The big thing when I stopped was like the shorter skis.
Shorter skis are easier for starters, but no, they don't have those people with the super short.
They
skis
were like
anymore.
The miniature skis.
Yeah, no, they don't do that anymore.
Yeah,
that was back in the old days. But the problem is, since it's so snowy and so nice and so cold, I either bike or stay inside and do nothing. So,
yeah, I hear that.
So
I got 20.
I've seen that.
But we're going to find out Wednesday if I'm even able to walk anymore because they're going to cut my foot off.
Ooh.
So, MRI results. We love the idea of a 9.6 mile run. I don't have in front of me who said it.
John Colehep.
Yeah.
John Colehep.
Yep.
So he had this idea of possibly, tentatively, I can't.
No, he had the idea.
Yeah,
we are definitely.
And then Eric jumped on it and said we should do it after the sunrise toast.
So it would be sunrise toast, then a 9.6 mile run. We're gonna have to map out, and then we're gonna hopefully land at Land Grant. Maybe I doubt they'll be open.
We are going to be talking to Land Grant to see if they will be open for that morning time.
Yeah.
If not, we will find another destination that we can get to and provide with a map for all of us to meet, do the toast, go on the run, and then celebrate for a little bit together.
I love it.
So
We
good.
love
Guess
this
who
idea
enters
from
the
John.
chat? Mr.
Matthew.
Haas.
Hey, Haas.
Haas.
How was that college football game?
Yeah, I did manage to step away. Like,
I'm really surprised.
I can't
He's
hear
still-
you
he's
in the Atlanta crowd. How
yeah,
is
he's
the
still
game?
wearing his face
My
paint
bad.
and everything.
OH. I.O. Good one, Haas. You're hilarious. So, Haas, seriously, how is Atlanta? So you're at the game we discussed earlier because
What
you
game?
think the
What game's in Atlanta?
Atlanta
Lean
United
into
is
it.
playing Notre
Lean
Dame football to
Weird.
figure out who's going to do the script Ohio and play the tuba or the sousaphone. I'm sorry, and do the little thing. Yeah, well, glad to have you. So we got 4. So no longer the triangle. We've got the square because that's how geometry works. Let's get in it. So we said goodbye to the former Nordeck elects, and we welcome and usher in the new elections. Does someone have it up and want to run through who the peeps are?
So, winning chairperson this year was Courtney Sullivan,
Woo,
All right, Courtney.
moving into a different role. I forget what she was last year. I think it was match day
Match day
operations.
operations
It
or
was
experience.
about time. Huh?
That's good.
Just
We
about-
love Courtney.
Yeah.
Communications director is Colin Hill. And then
Have at it, Colin.
And then I think there's something else with community. Is it community relations, community outreach?
I just wrote down community, so that's my
okay.
bad. I think it's
But that was
community
won by Emily Kegg.
All right.
Congrats, Emily. Actually, have known her for quite a long time. Creative.
Flex.
It's really my wife that knows her. But anywho, creative was won by
Wife
Brent
flex.
Miller. Match day experience by Brandon Potarica. Pardon the pronunciations.
Should be America.
Match day operations, Anne Marie won. Merchandise, Brad Holloway. Partnerships was won by Ravi Pandey.
Woo, Pandy.
And then travel was won by Curtis Rausch.
All right. Good job, everybody. We all totally voted and are completely impartial. But yeah, I think we're going to try to have some of them on to kind of go over what they intend to have. Same thing as we did the past couple of years. So I'd say half of those are 1-year roles. The other half are 2-year roles. And I think a lot of the people that lost are going to be usually right underneath them. They work with them as like an assistant. And then I think they usually take it over the following year.
So for travel, was that an early win for Curtis then? Or is that too soon?
Was it the
for him
regime
to be
before?
Involved. So that was the regime before that.
I don't know.
Into transition
question.
into a bus ride. That's what I'm doing.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Well, some other things we want to shout from the Nordecka before we kind of move on is there's a Rocking Around the Christmas Tree, February 21st at Space Bar. They're going to be kicking it off. The good news is all benefits support Christ, which is wonderful. There is a Nordecka New Year's merch sale, single match Nordecka tickets. Nordecka Cup is coming back, allegedly. That's what I read.
Good.
I'm super pumped about that. They said March 2nd for that, but it says March 2nd after 2 p.m., so no idea what that means. But for those who don't know, Nordecka Cup is where you can enter to play on a team and compete against other crew fans for a crew jersey?
Yeah,
Which
and
is
if
what
you
Mort
win,
won.
you might end up with a really cool jersey.
I don't know. You get to go play on historic Crew Stadium field. Maybe they'll squeeze it on the new stadium? ? But definitely not, right?
Probably not.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. But it's a lot of fun. And then it says Nordecka Kids Club. I'm not entirely sure what that is, but that looks like a lot of fun. And then the last piece of Nordecka news is there's a Nordecka board meeting monthly, which is the first Thursday of every month. It's at the ColumBUS Metropolitan Library, so you can't be loud. Haas, dang it. Hush. And the first one will be Thursday, February 6th from 6 to 8 p.m. So that is it for the Nordecka. A lot of Nordecka moving around. I'm going to try to make it out to that that Spacebar show. I wonder who's playing. I talked to
I've
Ravi.
seen
I tried to get
3 or 4 bands announced.
Really. I wonder if Takis is playing.
I didn't see them on there, but that doesn't mean that it hasn't developed. It's been
Then I'm not
like a
going
week since I saw 3 band names.
Yeah, I'll hit up Chris, see what's going on. Well, great. That's awesome. Nordecka, whole new Nordecka, whole new year. Ready for this. All right, next piece of news. Let's talk about it. The Cleveland pricing. This came out a while ago. My brain's kind of fried. Can someone refresh kind of like what the pricing looks like? I remember looking at it going, I mean, I'm going to go, but like, come on, man.
I don't have it in front of me. I know a friend of mine was looking at the options. We discussed this already. And I think it started with like, they're going to be like $140 a ticket for the family when they try to get some decent, not even that decent of a seat, like more of an economy kind of type of seating. And he said, Martin, I can't do that. And I said, you probably should wait because I doubt that they will sell this stadium out at that price level they put. I'd be shocked.
So, right. I was talking to Tommy, though, and they originally had the upper deck grayed out. From what I understand, he was looking, and they were able to buy tickets in that upper deck.
You can. They are currently $100.
Okay, so they've opened that up now, but still.
Which would make me think that there is a necessity for it, which means they have sold enough tickets. Like this could do what they intended it to do, which is like have what's 70,000 people watch the game. That would be if we go to Cleveland, there's 70,000 people for the Inter Miami game. I will be shocked. I legitimately.
I can't say I'm going to be shocked though. I mean, it is a ton of messy fans that aren't going to see them anywhere.
And Ohio is a big state, and it's selling out much smaller,
But there's like
areas.
3 cities and like cows and there's just not a whole lot in between. I mean, so do you think 70,000 people would have came to like, let's say, Ohio State Stadium if they played in Columbus?
Yes.
Yes.
Really?
I think 105,000
this.
would. Yeah.
Well, I think we get 70,000. Yeah. It would.
Yeah.
Dang. Well, we're gonna try to plan some stuff for that Cleveland. I'm getting kind of excited for it. I don't know if I should because it feels like that's like not what to do, but like going away and watching a game's like kind of fun. Haas, what do you think?
A 4:30 game, which
Ooh.
leaves plenty of time before and after the game to do things.
Plus, it could be cold.
I think one of the next things on the agenda was the fact that Nordecka announced today that the Haslams are paying for the Nordeck group to get buses to and from the game day of.
Right.
And I saw that they were basically going to surround the Muni lot park the buses around it and tailgate at the Muni lot prior to the game.
Interesting. They said, we're excited to announce the Haslam Sports Group to all paid 2025 Nordecka members, and more details to come soon. So
you currently can't buy a membership because they haven't announced what the items are going to be with the membership or the price or anything like that. But I think that's supposed to be happening soon.
Yeah, because right now it says it's only 1,200 active members, and we know that number is.
Man, I will say doing Nordecka members is one thing. If they don't do season ticket members, that's a huge swing and a miss.
I think that's almost a safety perspective too. Kind of the Nordeck is more the rowdier group too, and they're going to be more drinking and thing. You can say that it's mostly kind of a safety thing. You don't want to have 2,000 or 1,000 people coming from that game and getting on the road and getting in accidents, whatever else too. So I think that's a really good initiative just from a safety perspective. So that's one of the first things I was thinking about. But
we know that season ticket members don't drink. Haas, can you speak to that as a season ticket member?
I'm back on the sauce. I don't know.
Oh, that's what I'm talking about, my man.
all I know is when I've been going on some like trips to Cleveland for going on a baseball game with like company or whatever from Columbus and up is the only time I know where all these stops on the way up is all these pit stops, what do you call them, rest stops on the way up. Because the only time I stop in a restaurant between here and Cleveland is if I'm drinking on a bus. So that's they're going to be busy.
I mean, if they do the Nordecke, great. If they include season ticket members and they can get like an act, like just show up with like 10 buses,
speculate.
like let's go. They do it for Ohio State, right? They bus in people from different parts.
That's not necessarily Ohio State.
Haas,
does that.
You know
There's
about that. You're a big
around
Ohio State fan.
That does that.
Got it.
But
Ohio State does not bus fans in.
no.
No, they do not.
Well, I mean, locally.
They pay to get on that bus.
Well,
100%.
no one will know. No one knows.
Or
No one
somebody pays for that. That is not associated
Correct.
directly with the program, right?
Well, agree to disagree, I guess. All right. So I think we're all pretty much in on Cleveland. And like I said, we're going to try to do something too. I like the idea of going up on the bus and having a time.
I do, but I also like the idea of going up and
a day
partying
early,
little
maybe
bit that night.
Yeah.
Not having to get back on the bus and go home.
True.
We'll all get on the bus. We'll have someone drive separate to take us home so we can spend the night.
It's lots of good
Uber home
restaurants
from
up there.
Cleveland.
It'll be like $7. I'll hit up Jimmy, see what's going on. Well, I think this is a good time to take a break. We've covered kind of a lot, kind of quick. We got to check the score of the Ohio State game. Haj, you're there. Do you know what the score is?
Nope.
Okay, cool. We'll be right, Trap.
Oh, great.
Water break.
Okay, we're back, and so are the Ohio State Buckeyes, so we are going to maybe kind of make this fast, because I know Haas wants to see it so bad. He's like, I want to watch the game so bad. Okay, so a couple things to note before we dive into the other stuff. I did want to shout out, somebody did post a 1-hour kind of history of the Columbus Crew on YouTube, kind of out of nowhere. I haven't had a chance to watch it. I was just kind of skimming through it. It's a lot of like old school type stuff. It's kind of fun. It's done by United States Soccer with Kopu, Kopu. And I will try to link that on some of our socials. The other thing I wanted to talk about before we hop into the rules, there was rumors for a while that Botafogo was trying to poach Cucho. I guess Cucho requested $8 million is a rumor. But from what we understand, that's all but gone. I mean, we would never let him go for 8. We kind of agreed on 20 at minimum.
Right.
So that was never going to happen. I'm still a little confused on why on earth we haven't heard anything of him getting like a pay increase. Am I crazy?
Well,
I was talking to Tommy about that, and he was like, "Yeah, what's he on?" I was like, "He made less than Rossi." I mean,
yeah, but he was like 150 less than Rossi. Like it was like 1.6 to 1.75 or something like that.
You got to be a little careful too when you manage a team to let it go out of hand with somebody making significantly more.
Yeah,
and making it more like, hey, this is kind of the peak. This is what we pay our best players, and rather have like kind of
this is
less
the
of
line.
It. Yeah, this is kind of the line, because we've seen, being a United fan, you can see how quickly that can be like suddenly you pay way too much
Chelsea.
and bring in all these people, and then you have all kinds of issues.
So, pardon me, I was incorrect. It was Rossi's on 2.675 and Kucha's on 2.6. So 75.
You got it. But in this market,
okay.
what they're paying, they have to pay more.
And then you have
honestly,
Nagby.
They should 4 or 5.
Nagby is third at 1.4. Yeah. So, I mean, those two are significantly higher than everybody else.
Well, and everyone talks about buying Nagby's contract down.
Yeah, let's get into that. So they released some roster rules, some new roster rules. I kind of read through it. I'm going to let Trey kind of take this. I did listen to SoccerWise's podcast all about it, and it made my head spin. So I thought I kind of understood it. We're going to kind of do a dumbed down version, what's on MLSsoccer.com, which we can all agree is a ridiculous name for a website because it's Major League Soccer.com. But Trey, you want to go down through and just kind of like gloss over some of this stuff? I feel like most of it is a positive thing, but let's just go through.
Well, I'm going to hit hit exactly what it is, and then we'll kind of break it down of like how it impacts the team. So
Perfect.
the first rule is cash for player trades. In this rule, MLS clubs may now use an unlimited amount of out-of-pocket funds to trade for players, allowing MLS clubs to acquire talent from within the league without having to use the GAM or other assets such as super draft selections and international roster spots.
Got it.
I mean, parameters, clubs will be allowed to do this twice. And let's see. I mean, at the end of the day, this looks like it is just an expansion on the ability to buy and sell players and to recoup some of that money on the outgoing player transfers.
Got it. Yeah, on the SoccerWise thing they were talking about, I didn't realize that it's kind of, I think, is it GAM or TAM? I think it might be GAM, where if you don't use it, you lose it kind of deal?
That's
or it goes
one of the
back
rules.
Into the...
That's one of the rules coming up where
Yeah.
GAM is going to have an expiration date.
Yeah, okay, cool.
So getting into that next rule, GAM expiration dates. MLS has eliminated expiration dates for general allocation money apart from GAM received as part of the club's decision to opt into a U22 initiative player model at the beginning of the season.
Okay.
Yeah, so the same GAM has no expiration unless it's tied to the U22 initiative where it's have to be used in the same season. It makes sense because that's
Correct.
things that apply to the young youth players and they will getting
and they
older.
age out.
Right.
And I'm pretty sure I saw somewhere the MLS Players Association posting about their support for this new like internal market essentially within the MLS.
And that's what a lot of these rules seem to like revolve around of like increase in player salaries and transfer numbers within the MLS, which is good. I mean,
yeah, I mean, I just assume every time I was reading this, I'm like, how does this benefit Los Angeles, Miami? And I was like, okay, cool. And I'd say over half of them, I was like, that kind of helps everybody out.
Yeah.
So one that would have.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead, Ben.
Oh, I was saying, go ahead with the next one.
Okay. So one that would have benefited us, what was that, 2 years ago now? A second contract buyout. So a club may now buy out 2 guaranteed contracts, including a DP each year. Such buyouts are at the club's expense and may apply to any mutually terminated contracted player, a contract that remains in effect. And you can do it in the in-season or during the off-season. I think this would have come into play big time with the Zelrayan.
Yeah.
We would have been able to buy Nagby down and then still pay for Zelrayan if that was the course that we wanted to continue with.
Yep.
Yeah, we couldn't get stonewalled by Dom.
Good old MLS.
Right. Yeah.
Which this one may benefit like Miami if one of their geriatric players gets injured and they have to buy him out.
Yeah.
But I see this as a positive to where, you know, you can open up a DP spot by being able to buy somebody down.
Yep. They're talking about DP spots too. They also have that option now for designated player loans. So, I mean, if you loan a player to an international club and they're willing to absorb the full salary, they will actually open up the DP for the club to bring in a different DP. But they have to be there at least one season before you're allowed to do that. So that's another thing that gives you a little bit more room around the DP, because if it doesn't fit for you, you can always ship him out to a club willing to take him. And sometimes we have people that plays really well, right, that goes in the middle of the season. That could cause some complications as well. Or you loan him out, you can still open up that DP and spend it on somebody else for that.
I like it because, I mean, I would argue almost one player in every team that has a DP like doesn't pan out. And if the ownership can just buy him out and increase the, you know, the quality of the team so they can be competitive, like, okay, sweet. I mean, buying out, I love that. I really like that rule. Yeah. I'm glad we didn't. I'm kind of glad we didn't buy out Nagby and keep. We kind of were talking off air about would we have kept Zelly. I mean, if we kept Zelly, we wouldn't have brought in Rossi, right? And Rossi sneakily was a insane compliment to that front three.
Yeah. Speaking of mid-season, you want to go ahead, Trey, with some more? Or?
Oh, yeah, I was just going to go on to the next change. Cool. So outgoing designated player loans. So if an international club absorbs a designated player's entire salary during the loan period, the MLS side will open that DP slot during the loan period, regardless of the player's initial acquisition costs. Previously, this was only applicable to U22 initiative player slots. And this will apply after a player's first season on an MLS roster. So this looks like it's kind of one of those scenarios of like if you get a DP and after a year he's not working out, you can, or he wants to transfer out, you'd be able to get another DP. Now this one could definitely help Miami, but
any of the big money teams,
right.
And just cut whatever I said, Ben, because that was better for the same thing.
Sure. Again, but there's something about these teams buying big names, Messi notwithstanding, but like bringing
Shaqiri?
in people that aren't that, like right. Shaqiri, or go ahead and bring in Neymar. He'll play 3 games.
There it is.
Like if you want to waste
let's call this the Neymar rule, because we know Neymar is going to come in for a year. It's not going to work out, and they're going to want to ship him up back off to Saudi Arabia.
I saw Neymar's
gone.
Bid.
Yeah, Neymar went somewhere else. He won't go into Brazil.
Back to like the team he first started on.
He's loaned back to Brazil.
I mean, nobody wanted his fat ass in the league anyway.
No, dude. Yeah.
You want to watch Neymar roll around on the field?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Not a fan.
At all.
No, yeah. I don't even want him in the league, like that type of thing. But again, if these, like Chicago wanted to waste their money, or, LA wants to buy Giroux, and then they don't make it past first round, like have at it, dude. That's not how Columbus does it, and that's phenomenal. All right, go ahead.
All right. So the next one is off-roster homegrown changes.
I like this one.
Yeah, MLS also altered certain parameters for off-roster homegrown players to provide more opportunities for young players in the league, in league matches and cup competitions. Off-roster homegrown players are now eligible, which I'm assuming would be like Crew 2 players or homegrown
academy.
If they were homegrown?
Homegrown, yep.
Okay. They are now eligible to appear in up to 6 Major League Soccer matches, along with unlimited first-team appearances in cup competitions. And that applies to all the different cup competitions and friendlies. Previously, off-roster homegrown players were only eligible for the standard 4 short-term agreements. A player must be 21 years or older during a calendar year to be eligible as an off-roster homegrown. Once a club moves an off-roster homegrown to the senior or supplemental roster, the player may not revert back to an off-roster homegrown position. Subject to the age limitations above, players may continue to be off-roster homegrowns so as long as they remain in their initial MLS contract. I think this one would have applied to us last year with the goalkeeper situation. Because
I think that's what Soccer-Wise was saying. They were like, well, this stops, we can't. So last year was our last Eddie Gavin award for person.
Basically.
Unless we use them 6 times.
Unless we get a red card.
Before we need them.
And a broken wrist. And then you got to have somebody else.
Because they bumped it up to 6, you said, rather than 4?
Right. But, I mean, this would also, as long as you're not signing, because they could have brought in Stas, the Crew 2 keeper.
Lapkis.
Yeah.
And he would have been eligible for more than, if he's not on a senior contract. Which is, I mean, it's good. It's just adding more flexibility to the young players who aren't in the league yet that are within your academy system as a homegrown, which is always a positive. So,
yeah, I think it fits us very well this year too. If we started making a run in the C3 again, which is obviously CONCACAF Champions Cup again, that we can use some other players in some of these MLS games in that part of the season. Of course, you don't want to drop points when you need to, but we also need to rest players and give other people a chance. The thing that has been challenging for us a little bit too is because of our success and our schedule, I feel like it's been harder for us to actually let younger players get a chance to play as well, because there have been so many games that mattered And you're always competing.
Oh,
at,
yeah,
like,
good point.
Yeah. So you don't have any breathing room. You're always like fighting for something. It's
We should
hard
just
to
play the Open Cup more because none of
I
those
was
games matter.
literally going to
exactly.
say that.
You know, this is the thing that with another good reason to keep that. That's
I'm
what
glad
happens
you're
when
such
you
a
play
fan of the
EFL.
Open Cup, and I'm so glad Haas is such a fan of the Ohio State Buckeyes. Okay, do
I
we have
been
one more?
painted
Because this is
in a bad
riveting.
light. Yeah, this one. Oh, God bless. All right, roster construction model declaration,
Which they just came out with, this year? Already modifying it?
I mean, they just clearly there was something on the back end that teams were doing that they wanted to put an end to.
Right.
So while required to declare a roster construction model by the roster compliance date at the beginning of the season in February, clubs will conditionally have the opportunity to update their roster construction model at midseason between July 1st and the secondary transfer window close of August 21st. This will allow clubs more flexibility to acquire DP and U22 initiative players in the secondary transfer window, while also providing an opportunity to invest additional GAM into the team.
I think this makes 100% sense, and there's two reasons. There's two reasons for this too, right? Possibly a future change to how we even play the season. And the other thing is, of course, that this is when the transfer window is for the rest of the world, and this is when you will see the big moves. And again, this will also be in one of those situations that would have affected us in the Zelrayan move, because you could have moved players around. You could have moved Nagby around as well in the same model.
So I'm just going to gloss over the two, because I believe there's two choices that you can make as a roster model.
I was listening to another podcast and they had three, and I don't know where the third one came from. But from what I understand, there is the two.
So we're going to stick with two that's on MLSsoccer.com. So the U22 initiative player model to DP model, the club must have used 1 million or less of the additional GAM and have no more than 3 U22 initiative players on the roster as of their updated declaration. The second option is a designated player model to U22 initiative player model. The club may only invest up to 1 million of additional GAM during the remainder of the season and must have no more than 2 designated players on the roster as of their updated declaration.
Right. So the big thing they mess with here is just designated players, which you're only allowed to have so many. So you can't just buy a bunch of awesome dudes and dominate like, the Yankees or, the Dodgers or something like that. And then they have the U22 initiative, which you can pay them more money, even DP, but they have to be younger, which I think is pretty much what people are doing right now anyway.
I'm sure there's loopholes. We will find them.
Right.
I hope, because we don't have Bez, and he was that was his bread and butter. Also, shout out Bez. Bournemouth is kind of killing it right now.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of killing it. Well, is there any other... For the 7 people who are still listening, thank you, and you're welcome.
I mean, I think at the end of the day, every one of these rules just adds for more flexibility to the roster for MLS teams.
Yep, to move things around.
I don't think anything outwardly just lets... They didn't come out and say, we're getting rid of DPs, buy whoever you want.
Or we're getting rid of TAM, GAM, all that stuff.
Yeah, and I think this is the way of probably being able to stall the move to 4 DPs. So kind of a mid. So now you have at least more chance of changing, or adding, or moving out, or moving in DPs. So at least you can if somebody's not panning out, you can have more options of churning them.
I think
it makes it harder to find DP. Miami and LA breaking the rules, because the rules are all just so confusing now. So
they keep doing. Yeah. They wrote one just in Chinese.
The smaller markets who, I mean, I'm going to add Columbus into that, but the more U22s, the more younger players that you sign, if you can push them on to bigger clubs, it seems like you're going to be recouping more of that money if that's the model that you want.
Right.
Which, MLS claims they want to be a selling league. This is one of those things that will propel, if a club wants to move that way with the U22s versus doing more of the DPs. I think Columbus is kind of the happy medium, but we'll see.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how how we navigate all this stuff moving forward, and even with the people that we have. Because I mean, currently they allow us now to buy down Nagy, which we want. So we have a DP slot open. What are we going to do? Still haven't made any moves.
But it's really playing into that model you see right now and really enhancing that. It's getting in young, talented, a lot of South American players and Central American players that goes in here to be traded on. I think the best example this year was Diego Gomez down in Inter Miami that went to Brighton, for 8.1 million. No, it's undisclosed, I guess. Or was it 8.1 million? I can't remember. So that's a perfect example of that, because they picked up him. He was like an Olympic team player for Argentina.
Well, it's then, like who's the guy that went from Chicago to, was it
Barca not gonna work here anymore?
Yeah.
No,
doesn't work here anymore.
Yeah. Barca Harper. That guy was awesome. I was a big fan of Barca Harper, because he ended up moving to shoot, I don't even know.
John Duran. That's who I'm thinking of.
Totally different dude. I have no idea who that is.
Are you serious? John Duran was the guy who was playing for. He's a Colombian. He was playing for Chicago.
Oh, I didn't know who he was. I know he got bought for millions. He's a striker, isn't he?
Yeah, he's now with Aston Villa, and he's
good.
Killing it.
Yep.
So 7 goals.
Is he really? Oh wow.
Oh
okay.
yeah. Yeah.
No, I wasn't on my radar. I remember hearing that happen, and I was like, "Who is this guy?" And then if he's doing well, then shame on me.
No, he's doing really well. He is going to get a sell to one of the bigger clubs.
Yeah. Speaking of people moving on and doing awesome things, let's move on to the last topic. I want to get on a soapbox here. The January camp for the U.S. team. Now, we had three of our players go to the men's national team, which is Max. We had
Dwan
Jones, and Schulte. The amount of people I hear that are like, Camp Cupcake, I feel like that is so derogatory. It's nails on a chalkboard to me. I would prefer like this is our strictly domestic team, or just our domestic camp for people that are here on the domestic.
MLS because here's the deal. Without the international players. Yes.
Whatever. I mean, even if this is a who cares who's watching, yada yada yada. This is a reward for having a great season to be called into this camp. And I don't like people just like completely crapping on it. I'm like, cool, this is our domestic team. Who else started out domestically? Let's see. Like Tyler Adams and all the people like Pepe and McKinney. Okay, this is an audio medium. Take it easy. That's it. I'm done with my soapbox. I'm just tired.
No, you're not wrong.
Because
you are not.
I would say
wrong.
One thing though, compared to some of these cupcake camp games that I have seen, this is a good game with a lot of interesting players to watch. Right. And it was actually an entertaining game, and there was quite a bit of talent out there. And I'm not only talking about the crew players. There was some really
and this was on Saturday, the 18th of January against Venezuela. And
they're going to play again here.
And the result was 3-1.
3-1.
Yeah.
And notable people in the game: Schulte started and went the full 90. Max
Arfston played
came
65.
out. Came out 65.
Which is when Dwan Jones went in.
Yeah, he subbed in for him. Yep.
Yeah, which I think is phenomenal. And also we talked earlier about the U20 camp with Taha and a couple of our other Crew 2 guys. I think we have a total of 5 or 6.
Yeah, Owen Prestis was there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So this is great. I mean, this is all good stuff. And to see Max start, like Schulte, sure, we knew kind of that was going to happen. But seeing Max start, especially at a left back, and watching the game, he played like almost a wing back, and at points he was up in the middle, he was on the right, he was on the left. I thought he had a typical
sharp.
Like
yeah. He looked sharp. He got a little tired, I think, at the end. I think there's a lot of preseason, in those legs still. But
sure, and Pochettino is always his camps. They were there for a lot longer than a week. So a normal U.S. camp, you get there, you have like 3 or 4 days, and then you play the game. They were there for I think over a week training.
It's still there.
And they're
still there.
This coming Wednesday, the 22nd against Costa Rica.
Correct. Yeah.
Thank you.
So we'll get to see them again. there might be a higher turnover, but yeah, what'd you guys think?
I was pleasantly surprised by how much each group player did play.
Agreed.
It's good to be out there. It's wonderful if they were actually in camp with the rest of the crew team, but being on a national team stage with Pochettino coming in setting camp, it's only a positive to get them in shape, get them rounded in the form. I thought Schulte played well. He probably could have got to that one that got by him.
Yeah, it was a header from 4 yards out that was
wide open header.
He may have, but I'm not going to kill him for it.
No.
Font gave him a 6.1. They gave Arston a 7.1.
That's phenomenal from Arston.
That's
people,
true.
man, and by people, there's a couple. I listened to 3 soccer podcasts, excluding ours, no big deal. But they all, 2 of them didn't have him playing that great, and I'm like, man, I thought Max played pretty good. I mean, he did a lot. He had a lot of take-ons, but a 7.1 is like a great, statistically a really good game on FOTMOB.
It's a solid game.
He almost found Aguimang in the box pretty early in the first half. He was like a step behind a ball that would have gone in.
Right. And
Aguimang would have got to it.
As far as like people that stood out, there wasn't like a terrible amount. The Patrick Aguimang guy, I like that guy. He looks like a monster. He looks like a Benteke, and he's only like 24. And he's only been really a professional footballer for a year or something like that. He got drafted last year from Rhode Island. And like 2 years before that, he was playing at a D3 school. Like he was pretty good.
He plays for St. Louis now? Charlotte.
He plays for Charlotte. Yeah. The other guy, I was like, man, you know who would be a great addition to the crew? McGlynn.
McGlynn is a solid player. And I remember it from watching him play us too.
Yeah.
Is he with Philly right now?
Philly.
Yeah, and he's 21.
They should try and poach him right now while Philly's going through a bunch of stuff. He'd be a good player to get.
I don't think he'll be there much longer. I don't think Aguimang will be there. But I do, again, want to nail home the fact that Max, showed up there. I didn't even think he would start, much less get any playing time, straight up. And within a week of being there and with Pochettino watching him train, he started, which I thought was super impressive.
Yeah,
like that speaks volumes to Max.
And it can't.
Like what he did
must have
during
showed
the season.
something.
Yeah, and the other thing I was thinking about is like, well, he's left-footed. There is a world where we have, Max on the left side and we have DeJuan Jones on the right, and that would be deadly. I never even thought of that. I don't think we even brought that up last year because we had Farsi. But man, having those two as wingbacks, who are basically third or fourth depths of the United States national team, is like kind of awesome.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see when Jones had been here for this, coming into his second season, get a preseason and really understanding the system to see what he can do, because I think he has a pretty high ceiling. I think he played very safe in this game. He didn't really do much. He beat a guy down the side on the left side there once, because he ended up playing on the left side, of course. But he was just pretty much a solid performance. Didn't do anything extra, but was involved. But so it was
and
good
we're
to see him
recording this
out there.
Monday before the Wednesday game, so hopefully he'll get the start. He'll get some more playing time.
I expect to see a lot of changes. So I don't think we're going to see Schulte in goal, but probably maybe Jones. I don't think we're going to see Arvston either in the second game. I think there's going to be so much rotation.
The only non-keeper that didn't come on is Tim Ream. Everyone else on the roster was substituted on.
Okay. Only that many. Okay.
According to FOTMOB.
Yep.
And we all agree that the random our guy from Argentina was,
don't say
like
it.
Someone paid him money.
Yeah.
Like it was ridiculous.
I like the guy.
Oh, he actually had a good. I mean, hey man, the goal he
goal.
took was sweet. He actually played. He was actually pretty good.
He's never going to be a penalty taker.
No, he shouldn't.
But he does.
I've seen.
Yeah, he will be runner-up as an Eminem lookalike turd.
To Diego Luna?
Yeah, I know. When they subbed on, and he subbed on for him, so it was like dyed yellow hair. I'm coming around on the yellow hair, especially with our guys.
It wasn't even yellow.
White?
It was white. Like, it was
I'm
almost clear.
Holy crap! It's a
Translucent.
ghost. Whitey.
I think. Can we make a thing like if the crew win? Let's just say the C3. Let's say if crew wins C3, then next year first game Haas has to dye his hair blonde. You heard it here first. OH.
Oh.
All right, my dude. All right, I'm gonna call it because I actually don't have the game up, and I know you guys are watching it, and I'm like super.
Why don't you have
it.
the game up?
What game?
I forgot my dad's login.
The one in front of you in the stand.
So yeah, I have no idea what's going on. But thank you for hopping on with me on this Martin Luther King Day. We are a month out, boys. I'm gonna release this tomorrow, the 21st. That's what 22nd is the freezing cold icicle day of a game. Got a lot of fun stuff coming up.
You mean the day of running 9.6 miles to a bar so that we can all celebrate?
Yeah, that's the plan. We're gonna get on that. I'm talking to the guys from Drams and Jams, which is a local kind of a whiskey music podcast that we absolutely love. They are huge crew fans. So we're gonna do like a split episode coming up. Hopefully, fingers crossed. Talk to Morgan. He's gonna come on. We're gonna try to do a live one. We got a ton of stuff coming up.
Yeah, like one more week.
To figure it out.
Yeah,
you'll be good.
I'll survive.
Yeah, we are fastly approaching. I have all these big plans, and then I realized we only have like 2 more podcasts left before opening day. But I'm excited. But for now, we say go crew.
Go.
Thanks everyone for joining the club. We hope you'll listen next week and every week, even in the off season, to celebrate or commiserate. We'll save you a seat. If you like this podcast, please give us 5 stars and subscribe. You can email us at upper90clubpod@gmail.com. That's upper90clubpod@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at upper90clubpod. Go crew!
Morton, finish me. Morton, combat.
Finish man.
Finish man.
Finish man. I don't know if anybody got that.